Hi all, welcome to the Kruger from Zyl Physiotherapy studio and practice. We have obviously a lot of patients with COVID at the moment, and we were, in light of that, decided we need to help these people, we need to help as many people as we can, and decided to make a few short videos with some tips and some exercises and some advice to make life a little bit more comfortable dealing with COVID. And please feel free to share this with your loved ones. It's not only for our patients, it's for as many people as we can reach. Okay, so I'm Celine and this is Yana, and she's going to be my COVID patient for today, for the next few demonstrations. So something we want to I think emphasize quite a lot is the correct method of breathing. You can't do exercises, breathing exercises, if you are doing it incorrectly to start off with. So it's really critical that before you start with blow bottles and lying in the right positions and all the advice that is out there, that you first make sure you are breathing correctly. Otherwise, none of that really helps. So what we encourage our patients to use is their diaphragm, which is the biggest muscle in the body that assists with breathing. Okay, it's a dome-shaped muscle that lies underneath your lungs, and it moves up and down like a jellyfish does. And as it moves down, it creates more space in the lung to breathe in, and as you breathe out, it assists in pushing the air out. So how do we know what you are using when you are breathing? Is we see what is moving when you are breathing. So if you are using your apical or your accessory muscles, these are the muscles that attach onto the rib cage and into the neck. They lift your rib cage up, which is also not a bad thing, but those are secondary, meaning that once the diaphragm has completely assisted with lung expansion, then only should these top muscles kick in. Otherwise, you're just breathing here, and you're only getting air into the top lobes of your lung. So the diaphragm pulls the air down into the lower lobes as well. So we look at what moves. If the top hand is moving only, as you can see there, then she's not using her diaphragm because there's nothing happening down the bottom here. So what we want to see is the bottom hand, the stomach rising and falling. As you can see, she's now getting right. So in the beginning it might feel strange and it might feel very uncomfortable for you because it's a muscle that can weaken, and if it hasn't been used for a while, it will be challenging. So we tell the people to fake it until you make it. So even if you feel like you're forcing the stomach out like a pregnant tummy, breathing in and breathing out, then you do that. And with time, the diaphragm will start to strengthen and actually do what it should be doing. Okay, so there you can see a nice big pregnant tummy, and breathing out as it drops down again. Okay, so we call it belly breathing, and that is where your focus is when you are doing your breathing exercises. Please focus on breathing into the belly and not into the top of your lungs. Right, okay, so from there, we're going to just show you a couple of exercises that you can use to make it flow, the body flow a bit better as well. So we start with an arch and a tilt. Okay, so from there, as we breathe into the stomach, the pelvis should naturally want to tilt in this direction. And as you breathe out, the pelvis should want to naturally breathe in that direction. So we speak about sticking the tailbone out as you breathe into the belly, and then tucking the tailbone or your tail between your legs, flattening your back, and really emptying the lungs as much as you can to the full extreme before you breathe in again. So imagine the lungs as a sponge. When we breathe out, we want to imagine squeezing that sponge, all the air out of that sponge before I breathe in again, and it recoils and sucks the air back into it. So as we breathe out, we tuck in the tailbone, we breathe out, nice long breath, drop the rib cage, really close up this area to squeeze all the air out before you go into a nice in-breath again. That's ensuring you're really getting all the throat, all the, full of carbon dioxide, not well ventilated area of the lungs. We're getting all of that air out, and we are replenishing it with fresh, well oxygenated air. Okay, so that is what the aim is of an arch, breathing in, and a tilt, breathing out. Another thing we teach our patients is that exhaling is almost more important than it is to inhale. So when we breathe in, doesn't take so much time, but when you breathe out, your expiration time should be at least double what your in-breath is. So if you breathe in for, let's say, 3 seconds, 1, 2, 3, you should at least breathe out for 6 seconds. We have 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then again, breathe in for 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and relax. And you are more than welcome to make it 4 to 8 or 4 and count out with 10. The point being that your exhale should be longer than the inhale. Okay, then we can take what we've just showed you here in different positions. And I'm sure you've read everywhere that changing positions is important. We don't really want people just lying on their backs all day long. We need to perfuse or get air into all areas of the lung. So we can take this into 4-foot kneeling, being on your hands and your knees. Okay, so now what's happening, by just being in this position, air always goes to the top end of the lung. Alright, so like I'm now, the top end of my lung, this is where the air will be. When she was lying on her back, this was the top end of her lung. Now she's turned around, so the back part of her lung is where the air will go into. So that is why changing position is so very important. So that we can get different areas of the lung to get access to the air that you are breathing in. Right, so in this position, you can do the same breathing in without an arch and a tilt first, where you're breathing into the belly, and when you breathe out, you kind of contract the stomach and it moves up, and then breathing into the belly and it moves down. And as you can see, naturally, the body wants to move with this breath. So it's the same. Your pelvis is going to tilt, where you stick out your tail or your tailbone, or you tuck in your tailbone. And as you tuck in the tailbone, you look down at it as well. And then as you stick out the tailbone, I tell the people to open up the bum or to flare the butt cheeks. Okay, that's your in-breath, looking up, because you've got nice space to breathe into the stomach. And then when you breathe out, you tuck in the tailbone, nice long breaths. Okay, so we're going to incorporate the nice long out breath with the shorter in breath. So nice deep breath in for 3 counts, 1, 2, 3, and breathe out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can go longer, 7, 8, 9, 10, and breathe in an arch. Okay, so that is really emptying out that sponge to the full extreme to take in that breath. So yeah, that's the basic of breathing with our diaphragm, getting air into all areas of the lung and doing so effectively. Okay.
So something I can just add, what we've noticed is where you breathe, whether you breathe through your nose or whether you breathe through your mouth. naturally to us now that you would have seen that my mouth was closed the whole time. You are allowed to breathe through your mouth, but as soon as you breathe in through your mouth, the breath goes apically. So it's almost like when you get a fright, you go and you breathe over here. So as soon as you close your mouth and you breathe in through your nose, the breath goes down lower. It goes to your diaphragm. So it's almost as if there's a link between your nose, your sinus cavities, and your diaphragm. So try, if you don't have a very stuffy nose, try to rather breathe in and out through your nose. Your sinuses clears the air, gets rid of a lot of bacteria and viruses. So we need to teach ourselves that we should all breathe through our nose, and the mouth is for talking and for eating.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's true. Something else that you have in the sinus cavities is nitric oxide. Nowhere in your body do you produce nitric oxide excepting in the nasal cavities. So the only way you breathe it into the system and actually absorb it is by breathing through the nose, going through the nasal cavities and taking that nitric oxide into the lungs. And nitric oxide is a very powerful bronchodilator, meaning it actually opens your airways. It does that so your breathing will be easier because your airways will open. And secondly, it opens the blood vessels so your blood pressure will come down as well. There's lots of benefits to nitric oxide, but specifically for COVID-related problems where we want more air to come into the lungs, just another, emphasizing that nasal breathing to get some nitric oxide in, to filter the air as effectively as you can, and that direct link between the nose and the diaphragm. There is actually a nervous system link between the two. So, yeah, good point. So from here we're going to take it further to more of a resisted exercise, and then after that, with our second video, we'll show you the breathing bottle that also helps with some resistance.